So this is our first attack on the Temple of Anubis, and we were at a disadvantage because Melissa's voice comms weren't working, so she wasn't able to talk to us, and we were able to talk to her. So coordinating with her was more difficult. But just in terms of composition, I believe we were at both a shield and damage advantage. Orisa has more shields than Sigma, and in terms of damage, Junkrat's, Reaper, Roadhog, and Zenyatta should be able to outdamage Symmetra, Mei, Lucio, and Zarya. So in a straight 6v6 fight, we should have a shield and damage advantage. The one big thing we have to worry about, one is the Symmetra turrets and her building up ult really fast, and also the Mei wall, and the Mei wall splitting us off. Because if the Mei wall splits off one or two of us and they get those kills, then that gives them the huge advantage. So as long as we're careful about the Mei wall, then I think in a straight up 6v6 fight we should have the advantage. Now at first we move into the left room, which is very common on attacking a Temple of Anubis, and the Mei's already used her wall, so we know that we have a few seconds to be able to safely move into this area, which is what David does and I do, and then the Moira and Zenyatta. Now our DPS, Junkrats, and Reaper don't come into this left room with us. And as we're moving in, I stay here and I'm waiting for our DPS to come. And unfortunately, David moves forward alone and ends up in this room and ends up being surrounded and killed. So this is just a matter of better communication and better coordination, and kind of taking our time and not rushing. Because really, what we want to do is we want to group up in this room and wait for the next Mei wall. Because we don't want David to come into this room, or two or three of us come into this room and have the Mei wall everyone else off. We want to come into this room, set up, and wait for one of the enemy team to make a mistake. Because with Roadhog hook, and with Junkrat spam, and with Reaper damage, and with the Zenyatta orbs, our idea is first to set up in this room, look for a hook, look for one of their players to make a mistake and get for a kill, and once they use the Mei wall, then we can move into this room and do a straight up fight between us and them. And I do think we have the shield and damage advantage, but because we didn't coordinate very well, David ends up dying, and then they end up rushing us and killing us. So once their Mei wall's down, so we're able to move into the left room. We move into the left room. David goes forward alone while I'm waiting for our DPS to come in, and waiting for Moira as well. So David moves forward into that room. They're able to freeze him and then quickly surround him and kill him. And unfortunately, a Moira orb did a bunch of damage to our Junkrats. But instead of our Junkrat following us and being able to get healed, he goes for this mega health pack on the right. And it makes it hard to coordinate. It was also hard to coordinate with Melissa because she wasn't in comms. And so she ends up coming in and getting in a flanking position. But they just come in and just roll us over. So now that David's dead, they come in and they kill Moira, they kill Zenyatta, and then they kill me. Our Junkrats is able to get onto the high grounds, but he's all alone and he'll get killed quickly. I'll get killed, and Melissa comes in and sets up in a flanker position. So that's how we lost the first fights.